year. Houck was selected as an All-American this season, averaging 17 points and 6 rebounds per game. The Gators now officially get back Houck and Alex Condon. It's 80 degrees at 2 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Welcome into a Tuesday afternoon. Tom McManus did something today that I have not done in a very, very, very long time.
You got the dog and cat hair from underneath the dresser today with the vacuum? Is that what you did too?
I did not, but good job. Way to go.
My wife's like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, I can't.
I
can't live with that. I'm
very
breathe.
allergic to cats. I might die if I had to do that.
Yeah, but the great thing someone invented the vacuum because it made it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's good.
Suck that hair right up, baby. Then dropped it off in the container. And
I love now that they have the cordless vacuums, especially.
Cordless, and you can pull them apart so you can get under couches and furniture and behind stuff that back in the day, like the big vacuums weren't getting there. You were having to pull out the couches. And
totally.
now they make it very easy.
That's right. That's right.
So
Is that what you're thinking of? Or
That's not because I didn't know that was part of your day earlier today. No, you left a voicemail for a friend.
I did.
That is something I have not done in a probably over 5 years, maybe 10 years. Left a voicemail. If I end up calling someone, which is not very often, I just text.
Yeah, no, I know. I like
it.
It was Logs, our friend Logs, and I hadn't talked to him in a while, so I figured I'd just call his little beep backside as we call each other. No, he's great, man. But yeah, voicemail, whatever. It's nice to hear voices from time to time. I text a ton too.
Sure.
I mean, that seems to be the easiest way to reach out. And there are times where you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to have a phone conversation.
Yeah.
I told my girls, I'm like, listen, I love you guys to death. You're like my favorite in the whole wide world with your mother. I said, but I'm not really into small talk. You call me like, hey, Dad, what's going on? I'm good. How you doing? Oh, I'm good. What are you doing? I'm going to the store. Okay, great.
What do you need?
Everything's cool? Everything good? Yeah, everything's good. I'm just calling. I'm like, oh, it's so nice for you to call. I'm like, all right, but I got to get back. What else?
Need some depth in this conversation.
So now they give me grief. They're like, oh, Dad, no small talk. We're not small talking with you. That type of thing. But yeah, text in. But yeah. So good. You caught on to that.
My dad is the same way. If I call my dad, he's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, not like what's going on or,
I do what's going on. But, eventually it's like, like my wife can stay on FaceTime for an hour, 45 minutes and talking about, I don't know, the way the clouds look today, or whatever the topic is. And I'm like, my brain don't work like that.
That is the one thing I will say. FaceTime I can do for an extended period of time, but it's only as I've told y'all, my cousin Caitlin lives in Denver, so I can't see her very often. It's usually like once or twice a year that I get to see her.
They live in the same town as us, just for the record, for the FaceTime.
Exactly. Oh, they live in the same town?
Yeah. All three. Well, Kelsey came back. Kelsey would FaceTime when she was away. If she FaceTimes when she's here.
Christina would FaceTime with the daughters.
Yeah.
Your daughters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
I thought you were talking about like other family.
Oh, no. There's none of that.
There's none of that. Yeah, I'm not any of those. I honestly don't even really like my phone outside of I use it for Twitter and information and posting sometimes, and I'll look at family stuff, but I'm a terrible texter. My friends always make fun of me for that because I forget to reply, or I'll reply days later to certain things.
Yeah.
My grandma is the one person we talk almost daily on the phone, and she's the only person that my roommate, I don't think we've talked on the phone in 7 years. We also lived together, but we didn't for a long time. She was married. I just am not a phone. If I want to get to the point, hey, why are we calling? Let's make a plan, or if we are catching up, we'll do that real quick, and that's it. We don't need to have these long paragraph conversations back and forth. So I'm really weird with my phone. My friends make fun of me all the time. They'll be like, okay, well, Taylor, we'll talk to you in a week when you reply to this text finally. And I'm like, sorry, I just...
Yeah, even with my brother Mike, we talk, but it's quick. It's like, hey, how's it going? Tell me this, whatever, a couple stories, whatever. How's the boys? How's the girls? How's Christine? That kind of, and then, all right, see you later, man.
Good.
Love you, man. Have a good one. See you
if they
next
live
time.
out of
Talk to you next
state,
time.
then I understand where phone conversations or FaceTime or what have you is more important. But yeah, if you live in the same city, I feel like texting is good enough.
Yeah, and if in our industry, right, it's easy to just say, hey, can you come on the show by text?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt
And I
about
think to the point of this industry, we talk so much. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I spend my days talking like 2 hours on air. I do my multiple podcasts a week. Like sometimes I don't want to talk. I want to get home and just not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So I think that might play.
All right, how about this? How much texting goes on between the GMs? As opposed to actually, I'm sure they pick up the phone and call. Don't get me wrong. But I wonder how much James, think about that. He's got to text 31 other GMs.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if
the
they
tricky
communicate.
part about that is anytime you text someone, there's a record of it. The verbal conversations, unless someone has like
unless they're
now
taping
you
it.
can record on iPhone. iPhone has a recorder now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And although James likes to film everything that goes on in those meetings, so who knows?
Did you watch The Hunt?
Yeah. No, I just remember you saying that.
Yeah, no.
I remember you saying that in that one scene, with the CFO, right? That was
the director of player finance.
Finance, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got to be real careful not to text the wrong mic when you're texting general manager information.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Like, sorry, that was to McDonald's. I
didn't wrong one. I was drunk texting. I'm sorry. I meant that to go to the other team.
And that's another time when you have to be careful. So I don't know how much GMs
they probably
text.
don't text because of that. Just because texting is forever. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of forever, maybe some potential Jaguars that could maybe not be Jaguars forever, but their entire careers existing in this draft, perhaps. I feel like it is rarer and rarer these days to have a player spend their entire career with one organization. But that's certainly the hope. I feel like when an organization drafts a player and when a player gets drafted, I think it's their goal, unless they play for a really miserable team, I think it's their goal to play for that one team forever. Like, I think Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen and Trevor Lawrence, like all those guys, if you were to ask them on or off camera, would you like to be Jacksonville Jaguars your entire career? I think they'd all say absolutely.
Yeah, and I think Josh is well on his way to be a career Jag. You know, he's so beloved within the organization, with the fans, with his teammates. You know what I mean? He puts up the production. I like what he said, how the goal is to lead the league in sacks. So great.
As a team.
As a team. Yeah, no, as a team.
He talked about it individually. He's like, I'm not as worried about my sack production.
As a team.
But as a team. So I did find that interesting.
Yeah. Well, that'd be great. I mean, the leader last year was around 70, and we had 35. So just got to double the production.
Just double it.
That's all.
No big deal, is it?
And don't let the takeaways decrease either.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Still have around 30 takeaways and then also 70 sacks. And then you probably will win the Super Bowl.
You'll probably most likely have a real good shot to win the title with a defense like that.
Yeah, I think it is interesting because these guys, a lot of times, and this is what you hear players say when they're drafted, like, this team took a shot on me. This team drafted me in the first round. They had their faith that I could be that player. And so you have a certain level of loyalty to that regime. But obviously, sometimes we've seen multiple changes and you have different GMs and coaches and all of that. So it's interesting to see how much that changes. Here, clearly, they have fully bought into Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and what this looks like now. So I think that is beneficial. It'd be interesting to have that conversation if they didn't fire all of those people and you're in the same, if you're coming off another 4-win season, were these players as likely to be like, we want to be here forever? I don't think so. I think that because that Shad Khan was willing to say this isn't working and go make this leap to change things drastically and firing Balky, which was something that had been holding this regime back for a little bit, and then bringing in Liam Cohen and having that young, innovative mind that's going to change things and was aggressive and has both sides of like caring, but also being like, I'm also going to give you the tough love sometimes. And I think that's really important. So I do think that it's really beneficial that when it comes to Shad making that move and this team buying into that side, because we see other places where, it's a year or two, it's really fun, and then things kind of fall off, and the next thing you know, the players need to get one out. And once you get to that point, it's a lot of time. It's hard to come back from that.
No doubt. And what we've always had in our favor here in Jacksonville is where we live, and it's a great place to raise a family. The school systems are generally pretty good to really good. You got weather, we know why we love it here. Well, a lot of the families do too. And it's a pain in the butt when you have to move everybody cross country or to another city. got to get them into schools. A lot of times they don't go depending on how long they stay, how long is the contract.
Just the player goes.
Yeah, the player goes. So it's, I would, even when you're not winning, you're winning because you're living in Jacksonville. You can't say that for every NFL city. Now, that city may say, oh, I disagree. You just don't know our city. And maybe that's true. But from a macro sense of what we offer here with everything I just said, you know what I mean? That's tough to beat. You can say that about Tampa. Maybe Miami. Miami's a little bit cuckoo, but, that's okay. You still get the weather and everything else. The water, the golf, I don't know about the people. I like our people in this community. That's part of it. But, look at all the former players that still live here. Or that came back after they left and came back. There's tens of us. I don't even know how many. 70 maybe more. So there's a reason for that, and it's the quality of life. So I think that helps. So like if you're Josh Allen and his family, they're like, oh man, we love it here. Like this is our kids grew up here, they're born and raised here, they're in our schools here. Maybe like Freddie, he went to New England for 2 years, right? But then came back, retired a Jag. You know what I mean? That may happen to these guys, but for the majority of their career, and you do want that. And I think Josh is a great example of that, where he was drafted, how he's developed, the big contract. Yes, he's got to do more, in my opinion. I think others as well, but he's been a really good Jaguar, and we hope that he stays with the Jags, for as long as he can. We know it's a business at times, but he's a lifer. Yeah. For the most part.
And he's been through some of the losing that's gone on here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's seen the bad. And that's what I do think with Jacksonville too. It's the big city, small town feel, which is nice. And a lot of players probably appreciate, not everybody. Some players want the bigness of a city and downtown and all of the chaos, and some players don't. But you can go out to coffee shops here and go to restaurants and you don't feel like you're getting absolutely swarmed. There's some cities you can't step out and you can't. Sure. Like
without bodyguard.
Without anything. And so it is nice to have that here. Not saying people aren't coming up and wanting to take pictures with you and things like that. But you don't feel like you can just go sit at a normal restaurant in Jack's Beach and feel like you can maybe take a few pictures and get on with your day. Other places it's just not like that. And so there's a lot of benefits of being in Jacksonville. And I think we just named a few of several of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just imagine being in Cleveland. No offense to Cleveland, but
I've been there.
The mistake by the lake. I've been there too. I would never go back.
But people say that about here too. So again, to your point, Tommy, like people love their cities, and so everybody's going to say, well, you don't know our city well enough if you haven't lived here, because people talk trash about Jacksonville all the time, and we're like, what are you talking about? Like this place is great.
Exactly.
Yeah. Being from Florida, I'll take Florida over Ohio any day.
I'll give you a great example. To play for the Bears in Chicago, especially when they're in Chicago, is incredible. Until the winter comes, and then you're like, this sucks. You know what I mean? And the minute you're done, you want to get out of there because of the weather. Now, then you start having kids, they're in school, and you're not going anywhere. You got to live through that. Now, Chicago is a lot tougher. There's no doubt. I love Chicago. But I love Chicago in the summertime when it's no snow on the ground and it's not freezing. But you do have, that's part of the gig. Like Cleveland, like Chicago, like Green Bay. You want to live in Green Bay? You may, because you were, back in the day, you're winning championships. Like, hell yeah, I live in Green Bay. Look at New England. They're not in Boston. They're in Foxborough. They're way out, whatever. I forget the direction. West, maybe? They're way out there, man. Probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
I feel like they can't get farther east than Boston, so it's got to be west. That's what I would guess, but that's my limited...
That's the airport's right on the ocean.
Yeah, it's my limited geography of Massachusetts. I can be
sometimes.
No, you're all good. We all do that. All right, let's chat some draft with Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. When we return, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
He knows the NFL.
Okay.
He knows the Jaguars.
Fellas, it's pretty simple.
He's here to tell you everything he knows about the NFL and the Jaguars.
You do a button hook, the rest of you guys block for me, I'll take care of the rest.
Mike Dempsey.
Okay, on go.
10 to noon on 1010XL.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday, protected by Morgan & Morgan.
What two vegetables are combined in making succotash?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In order to make succotash, you'll need dry corn and dry beans. Suffering succotash was made famous by Sylvester the Cat.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
We have made it to draft week, so that means it is time for you to get busy with spring cleaning and spring organizing. Lauren Brooks here. I just love our organized closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. I know this because a designer came to our house and asked us what we wanted from our closets. From closets and garages to entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and storage for every space and budget. Make an appointment to tour their showroom on Phillips Highway today and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free consultation at 904-878-9393 or online, closetsbydesign.com.
Owning a house is kind of like being in an argument with your house. One day, it's the AC saying, I'm tired. The next day, it's the plumbing going, good luck finding that leak. Then the septic system joins the conversation. And nobody likes what it has to say. That's when you call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One team that handles all three, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. So the next time your house tries to win the argument, call Duck Duck Rooter. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
It's Mike Dempsey. If you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, maybe turning that old tub into a safer walk-in shower, check out 5 Star Bath Solutions. I shopped around, talked to several companies, and I chose 5 Star because their customer service was simply incredible. Responsive, honest, upfront about the entire project, and their pricing was even better than expected. When you're ready for a fresh look, better comfort, and a bathroom space you'll love using every day, schedule your free consultation at 5starbathsolutions.com and get the 5-star experience.
If you want more teal in your daily diet, Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Exclusive guests, sharp analysis, and non-stop Duval football. Served by Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
At the First Coast YMCA, there's no place like this place, with programs and experiences that will bring your whole family together. Summer will be here before we know it, and Y Summer Day Camp registration is now open. Visit your local Y to secure your child's spot early for a season full of memories and adventure. Don't delay. Day camps will fill up. There's no place like this place, so visit your local Y to sign up or online at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
You've always known Beard's Diamonds for, well, our diamonds. But have you heard about our watches? Beard's is proud to introduce a new and exciting selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. If you've tried to find a Rolex these days, you know how hard it is. But Beard's has scoured the country to put together an incredible selection of pristine Rolexes, thoroughly inspected and fully authenticated. These are like new Rolexes, all the most popular models, GMT Masters, Submariners, Sky Dwellers, and more. Come in today and check out our new collection of amazing timepieces. And if you have a Rolex to sell or trade, Beard's buyers are here with top dollar offers. Beard's Diamonds, always looking for new ways to give our customers the finest quality and the guaranteed best value price. Locally owned and operated for more than 4 decades, Beard's is your trusted source for fine diamonds, exquisite designer jewelry, stunning engagement rings, and now the finest luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Come find the Rolex of your dreams now. Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Taylor Dalton, McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you, joined now by Charlie Campbell, draft analyst for Walter Football. Charlie, thank you so much for hopping on with us today.
Thanks for having me. Great to be with you guys.
So I want to go back a year ago. Did you hear any of the rumblings about the Jaguars potentially trading up to get Travis Hunter leading into night 1 of the draft?
I did back at the Combine. Young Money, the agency that represents Travis, talking with people there, they said with, kind of crazy certainty he would be in a warm weather place, and they predicted Jacksonville. And I didn't take it as seriously as I should have because I just thought there's no way Travis is slipping to 5, so I just thought that was impossible. And it was in a way, but him going to the Jaguars was kind of seemed to be written in the stars. So that's kind of the I did hear about it, but I didn't give it enough credence. So that was the mistake on my part.
Well, none of us around here really thought it was going to happen either until probably
about 2 hours before the draft,
actual draft day.
Charlie, when you talk about this draft as a whole, the normal conversations in regular years are more so surrounding quarterbacks and when those quarterbacks start going and if they start getting drafted a little higher and then how that affects the rest of the board and things move. This season, it doesn't feel like the quarterbacks are as much as the talk as maybe just the positional value and certain when it comes to maybe the running backs not being very deep, the interior defensive line, some of those things. What to you may spark some people to want to move up if there becomes a run on a certain position group?
Well, I think that the premium positions could spark some movement just as far as if there's a run off on offensive tackles and there are teams that are looking to get some edge protectors or, say, pass rushers, that could cause some teams to do movement. And then receivers, there's kind of that top tier of those 3 receivers, Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate in that top 3. And then there's a bit of a drop off. So I could see potentially a team picking in the teens, late teens, early 20s that would like one of those 3. And if one kind of slides down, then maybe they're aggressive to move up for them because they have a, discrepancy in their grade from one of those 3 to the next group of like Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion and Omar Cooper and kind of that second tier group. So I think the premium position guys are the ones that might spark some trades in this draft.
Charlie, great to have you on the show. As you mentioned, Jags moving up last year. They're at number 56 right now. Do you see them moving up in the second round? And if you do, what position do you think they'll be targeting?
I think it's possible. I mean, after the trade, to get the extra 3s, they certainly have, some ability to be aggressive that way. And if they did, I think the interior defensive line would definitely be a potential target area from, talking with people at the combine. And since then, it seems like, that's an area in the team that they might look to address. And as you guys hit on, earlier, there isn't, crazy amount of depth there. So if there's a, player or 2 you specifically want, you may have to be aggressive to go get them. Given how late they're picking in the second. So I think that could be a position that they could move up for, say interesting player might be like Banks from Florida, who, if it weren't for the injury, could be a top 20 pick. So if you move up and get him, you're getting a first-round talent still coming to the roster in a year when you don't have a first-round pick. So I think that would be a really nice value for the Jags.
You're not worried about the foot injuries with a big man, same foot, same injury? How do you feel about that?
I think that's definitely something you have to, consider. And that's why you have the medical staff, that they're paying them to do what they do. And if they give you a thumbs up, then I think you go with it. But if they say, no, we think this is going to be a chronic thing or limiting him in his career, maybe only one contract, or maybe, he's just going to constantly be missing practice and it's so week to week whether he can play, then maybe you don't pull the trigger on that move. But, I think that those guys got to earn their money and give you a good report that gives you confidence to know whether you should do it.
Charlie, who is your favorite defensive tackle or edge that you think will be available at 56? And we're going to assume for the sake of this question that Caleb Banks is off the board by that point in time.
Well, I would really like Darrell Jackson at Florida State. I think he's been underrated in the process. I think he's a tough, nasty player at the point of attack that can eat up blocks and help free up your edge rushers and linebackers. So I really like him for Jacksonville. I would also put in there Dominique Orange from Iowa State, really talented player with upside. I think if you feel like he's going to be, properly motivated and work hard, then I think he's definitely worth it. I think in some ways, some kind of gifted players, things come a little easily, and then in the NFL, they kind of discover that everyone's good up here, and you got to really put in the work to be great. And so I think if if they have the signs that the maturity is developing with him, then he would be another good one to target.
When you talk about the running backs, obviously coming out of a running back draft last year, that was one of the deeper ones we've seen in a while. And the value of running backs, I feel like Charlie has sparked a little bit. The Kansas City Chiefs going out and making a big move. The Bills doing that recently in recent years with James Cook. And then you've seen the Lions do it, drafting a running back pretty high. Have you seen that start to skew a little bit in the value of running backs and teams wanting to take them a little higher than we were starting to see for a little while?
Yeah, I have, and I think that teams are more open to considering that, where there was, quite a lull there for a while of teams kind of downgrading the position. But when you see the impact that some of these guys are having, obviously, Saquon Barkley helped carry his team to a Super Bowl championship, and the running game that Gibbs and Montgomery with the Lions led them to getting close to the Super Bowl after being one of the worst teams in the league for a long time. And then obviously other guys who've had success hitting the ground running in the NFL, with Bijan Robinson, amongst others. So I definitely think teams are open to that, and we'll see Jeremiah Love be one of the first players drafted, Gentee was last year. So I think the running backs always going to slide trend has definitely been broken now.
Charlie Campbell's our guest, a draft analyst from Walter Football. Let's talk offensive line for a second. Charlie, when will the Jaguars address it, if they do at all in this draft? And do you think it's more a guard, an interior, or do you think they go offensive tackle?
Well, I think there's a really nice group of tackles on day 2. So I think in the second, third round, they could have some nice options. I think Jude Bowery from Boston College is a really intriguing player, really impressive pass protector, coming from a pro-style system there at BC. I would also say Caleb Beenan from Northwestern is a nice player to consider on day 2. Jennings Dunker from Iowa, of course, if he got to their second-round pick. So I think between the tackles and that group, and then some other solid guards and, centers and players with guard center flexibility, like Slaughter from Florida or Connor Lew from Auburn, I think they'll have some really good, nice options on the offensive line on day 2.
What's your favorite part about once the draft actually gets here, Charlie?
Oh gosh, I'm so sleep deprived, and I've been I've worked the draft for a full calendar year, each draft class. So I'm really eager to see where these players, actually go come draft day. But just running on adrenaline and coffee at this time of year. But I love it, and it's so exciting. And it's Christmas Day in the NFL. I love the draft. Yep. Everybody gets better, and it's great to see these players who work really hard and have dreams come true. So. It's so much fun. I love it, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, then you can get some sleep and then start working on 2027.
Yeah, and then move on.
Right. You got it. That's right.
Charlie, before we let you go, final one, what are a couple later round, like 6th, 7th round guys that you see maybe people aren't talking enough about that you like in this draft?
Good question. I like Lawler, the wide receiver from Kentucky, Sturdivant, wide receiver from Florida. Both of those guys kind of went underutilized in college and could bring special teams value. I would say Bud Clark is he on field and on tape. he should go on the second day of the draft, but the injury history could have him, slide really late potentially. So I think late rounds, he'd definitely be worth a shot given the probability of those picks working out. So those are some late rounders that have stood out to me.
All right. Well, good stuff. We so appreciate it, and enjoy the extra cups of coffee between now and Thursday.
Will do. Enjoy the draft. Great talking with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. There he goes, Charlie
Merry
Campbell,
Christmas.
draft analyst. That's right. Merry Christmas.
April.
Draft analyst for Walter Football. Yeah, I didn't think about that part for these analysts who pour everything into the prospects themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then on the flip side, of course, we have them on after the fact to talk about the prospects, but for them to kind of think of these guys as like they're babies, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so after the draft, they get to be like, oh, this player got, drafted by the Chiefs. That's a great situation.
Yeah.
Or the Seahawks, or the Patriots, what have
Or
you.
we don't like this one. This
Right.
doesn't
they
fit
got
well.
traded
Yeah.
or drafted by the
Yeah.
Jets, and then traded.
Yeah, and it's funny when he said dreams coming true. I think we forget about that part because we're thinking fantasy. Like how's this kid gonna help?
Yeah.
We're
This
not
team
thinking
here,
about
yeah.
all the hours that he put in to get to this point to be able to get drafted, especially in the early rounds. I mean,
Well,
that's a magnificent accomplishment.
I feel like we being the collective media, we don't value the combine quite like we once did. I feel like 10 years ago, the combine was
yeah.
something that you just studied it. And that was more kind of the data that the GMs were putting in or using for these prospects. And so now I'm not saying it's devalued entirely, but I think a lot more GMs are far more focused on the film than the combine. And so obviously we've seen fewer teams go to the combine, including the Jags.
Right. Well, and not just the film, but now you can get all that
Analytics
data.
for everything.
How fast they're running, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
You can plug in exactly like measurements or speed or whatever you want, and it'll give you a list of players, and then you can go watch the film of those players, and it directly correlates to measurables that you like or the speed you need or the fit, like man, zone, whatever the case may be in that.
Nickel, outside corner.
There's everything you can plug and play in with the data we can get for free on the internet, imagine what they get at their level behind the scenes.
Yeah, those next gen stats. And that's what the Hunt did a great job of looking into the software that they use called Blackwater and putting all of that together for every single scout and person that's involved in that evaluator to be able to look at and communicate with one another throughout the process too. So I can only imagine the amount of hours that certain people have spent, whether it's the teams, whether it's these draft analysts as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right, more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Firehouse Subs is adding a new heavy hitter to the roster. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Grilled chicken, melted cheddar, crispy bacon stacked high with fresh toppings, and creamy buttermilk ranch. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Only at Firehouse Subs.
There's no doubt that we were in good hands when our son's shoulder and hip issues were diagnosed quickly by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. No matter what your orthopedic issue is, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take a look. You'll be glad you did.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday
is served by
Morgan & Morgan.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hayes did it. Dempsey, Amber, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th. Awaken. 180weightloss.com.
It's time to take your season to the next level when the Jaguars return to the bank in 2026. Become a season ticket member and unlock exclusive access to ticketed events, members-only experiences, NFL membership club perks, and more. Availability is limited due to in-bowl renovations, so don't wait. Call 904-633-2000 or visit jaguars.com/season tickets to secure your spot at the center of the action. We'll see you at the bank this fall.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
It's been a tough Saturday in the lake. I ordered swim trunks in this orange cream color, but it's actually more orange auburn. Oh, and it's swimwear. I probably can't even return these.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive. So you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
Double the action, double the fun. Join Sporting Jags Saturday, April 25th at UNF's Hodges Stadium for an exciting pro soccer doubleheader. The women's team gets things going at 2 against Lexington, featuring an appearance from competitive eating legend Joey Chestnut. Have a blast after in the fun zone before the men pick things back up at 7:30 against Miami. Secure your seats at sportingjacks.com or call 863-KICK. That's 863-KICK. Pro Soccer, Pro Jacks.
1010XL's draft previews are built by Purple Heart Pools, your veteran pool company.
Former ESPN All-American offensive lineman Chris Pasantis of Texas A&M held a near-perfect protection efficiency last season. Cincinnati linebacker Jake Golday averaged 12 tackles a game last season in the Big 12. And San Diego State's Chris Johnson was one of the top cornerbacks in the draft with 148 tackles and 6 interceptions for 2 touchdowns, potentially giving Jacksonville a highly coveted lockdown corner.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We have a ton of prospects that we need to get to, you two, when it comes to who we think realistically will be available for the Jacksonville Jaguars around pick 56 and beyond. I'm sure some of the prospects that we're going to discuss, they will be drafted a little earlier than what we are thinking at this point in time based off of all the mock drafts that we have researched. But as far as realistic, I think that's a good barometer for us to use. So there's no chance we're going to get through all of our favorites that it would apply to the Jaguars' needs. But let's start with tight end. That's where we're going to start. We're going to start on the offense because I think we have fewer probably offensively than defensively, so we can do defense tomorrow. Yeah. But Taylor, who's your favorite tight end in this draft as far as realistically available for the Jaguars? And is it a Notre Dame football player?
It is not, actually. Okay. This one, actually, I had heard a little bit here and there, but then Trevor Sikkema mentioned the name and it popped out again, and that's Max Clare. That's one that I think is in the range that I think can be there, fitting when it comes to, and Sikkema went into what type of tight end are you looking for, and that's what a lot of the conversations come for. To me, you need one that's a pass-catching tight end, because I know Brenton Strange can do that, but Brenton Strange can do a little bit of everything, and I do feel like the drop-off between tight ends last year of ones that you could rely on really catching the ball and being a massive part of the offense when it comes to getting downfield was a bit of an issue, or was an issue, because I mentioned, you lose 3 of your 4 games in that stretch that he wasn't there, and you go to overtime twice against bad teams when he wasn't there. So I do think that was a glaring issue when it came to not having somebody that Trevor at least felt like he could rely on enough if Brenton Strange isn't out there. But also just in general, when you talk about teams now, how much they run 12 and 13 personnel, having multiple tight ends out on the field, I think is super beneficial. And so I do think Max Clare fits that when it comes to what type of tight end I think that the Jaguars may be looking for and may need. And I think that the value there is worth it too, where they'd be able to select him. It would be probably, I don't know how high a lot of fans want a tight end, but if you're talking about somebody that's going to be there in one of those first third round picks, I think Max Clare would be one of those.
So redshirt junior out of Ohio State, almost 6'5", 246 pounds for Max Clare.
He actually he transferred from Purdue. He was there for a couple years, but always considered one of the top tight ends in the nation.
And his brother plays at Purdue, which is funny.
Yeah, like I said, his dad played nose tackle with a former team of mine at Boston College way back, but comes from a good athletic family. I like him too, and I know Trevor also mentioned Roush from Stanford, but I'm going to go to Georgia because the kid just ran a blistering 40 time, and I'm like, man, Oscar Delp, 6'5", 245, and he ran like a 4.48 or something like that, 4.49. So talk about a receiver. And again, it's that compliment to Brenton Strange. You don't have to be a great blocker. You just got to be a willing blocker. And then you just got to be a guy that can really stretch the field. And that's what I'm hoping for. We have what we have in Brenton. We have with Quentin Morris as well, what he brings to the table. Now we need just somebody that can get down that field. I think Trevor throws a really nice seam ball down the seam over the linebacker in front of the safety a lot of times, and having that speed will help a ton. So I'll go Oscar Delp out of Georgia.
I have the same one. Watching him in college is part of it. B, like you said, he ran a 4.48 at his pro day. He's projected in round 3, so I think we're all thinking not with pick 56, but maybe one of those third round picks. He's a great athlete. He's got good hands. He could improve in blocking, but I think that's what, when you get to the NFL level, you're going to have to improve in something unless you're probably a first or early second round pick.
Yeah,
right?
and that's just as long as you're willing.
Absolutely.
If you're not willing, then there's a problem.
That's right. You just got to be willing and able. But he's a guy that I do think, plus any player that goes to Georgia, and I know that this is kind of a cop-out, Taylor, but in my mind, any player that goes to Georgia and plays for Kirby Smart, they know that they have to love the game of football. Yes, some of them may have issues with vehicles outside of the football field, but Kirby Smart knows what he's looking for in a lot of his players. And I know defensively we see guys littered throughout the NFL that played for the Dogs, but I don't care which side of the ball. Brock Bowers obviously as well. These guys love to compete, and they are held to a really high standard there in Athens, and so I also like Oscar Delp.
Yeah, and I think that some of those schools, and we've talked about this before in the sense of how long players are in, and different GMs might evaluate that a little bit differently. And I think places like Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and the ones that have been pumping out talent after talent, sometimes the patience is there and being willing to do other things, being willing to, as a tight end, block and do some of the stuff without the ball in your hand because there's a Brock Bowers on the team or because there's another stud wide receiver, tight end, running back. There's probably someone in front of you that's about to also get drafted at some point, and you kind of have to be a little bit more patient on some of those teams. And so you give credit to those guys in that sense too. And so I do think that when you talk about SEC talent, that's another thing, what they're going up against on a weekly basis. And so those are things that I think you in totality are evaluating in a lot of these moves. And so I do like him. That's another name I've heard a few times. There's a couple that the Jags have done interviews with, whether that's with the virtual or through the combine or whatever. And one of them I do really like. It's Jack Indries. He's one of the ones that they had done a virtual interview with, and he went to Texas. 6'5", 245 for him, multi-role tight end, can run, be in the slot and catch passes there, can do a little bit of everything, can also block. He's been asked to do that. He had a Shrine Bowl invite, and that's where people started talking about him a little bit more at the Shrine Bowl, but he's one that the Jags specifically have talked to, and so that one they have a link to him with Mason Taylor and Cade Stover, who out of Ohio State and LSU, two previous tight ends who I think kind of fit in that realm. But I mean, I think there's several. It just depends how high they actually want to go with tight end. How important is that with them? But you do have 11 picks. So in my head, I do feel like you have some wiggle room while other teams don't. If you only have 7 picks, you're probably not picking a tight end with this roster specifically. But I think the Jags do have some wiggle room in that area.
Yeah, and I think it's a specific kind of tight end. So you just got to get a real athletic one that's willing to get in there and get dirty sometimes, but also can get down that field. Got good hands, good moves in the open field. You could find that, later in the draft. I would think, though, with the tight end, within the first 5 rounds, second round through 5th round, I think they would address that. It really depends who falls and how they fit that role. But again, I think they really like Quentin Morris. He's a vicious blocker. He is not afraid to light somebody up. And I do think he's pretty darn athletic to get down the field. I think he needs more opportunity. But I can see them you got to add to it, too. So have another speedster out there that can really get down the field and help your QB out.
Yeah, 4.48 would be nice when it comes to Delp, for sure. All right,
and a 6'5".
And 6'5".
He's big.
Yeah.
Big guy that can move.
All right, we'll continue with offensive positions. We've got interior offensive line. We've got running back, potentially wide receiver. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
There's something special about radio play-by-play. Always has been. In Jacksonville, your place for play-by-play is 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Covered by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Hi, this is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine. If you are a young athlete or a weekend warrior, I treat you with the care and expertise that is needed to diagnose and treat your injury. Come see me at Bari Orthopedics to get the care that you need.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Bari and the entire staff at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com. And follow Doc on Instagram at Dr.GeorgeBari.
You love your land, and you have plans for it. During Kubota Orange Days, you'll love the great deals on their versatile, reliable lineup, helping you turn dream projects into reality. Visit your Kubota dealer today for the best deals of the year. Now through June 30th, 0 down and up to 84 months financing available. And save up to $3,500 off select compact tractors. Sale ends soon. Stop by your local dealer or go to GoKubota.com. Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate Chessman.
At most companies, people start on the ground floor and work their way up to the corner office. At Checkmate, I started on the ground floor, and almost 20 years in, that's still where I am, making ground floors look awesome, one garage at a time.
Well, I started as a pawn and worked my way up to king.
No, you didn't. Some guy drew you as a king. I asked them to give you a roller, so at least you'd look like one of the guys.
Yes, I rather would have preferred a sword.
At Checkmate, I work personally with our teams to perfect the preparation and application techniques that make Checkmate floors beautiful and durable.
And I keep things classy with my adorable accent.
Beautiful floors?
Check. Guaranteed to last?
Check. The finishing touch your home deserves? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Before we continue with our prospects, let's find out what Tom has in store for us today.
Now, Tommy's Takes. Protected by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, or dial pound law. That's all.
Yeah, my take today on this beautiful Tuesday is I saw where Trent Williams got a 2-year extension, $50 million. He got $22 million to sign and $37 million guaranteed. We talk about quarterbacks and how much money they make, and I say, kids, go play quarterback. Well, when you hear this, you might want to play tackle. He's the first non-quarterback, Trent Williams is, to earn over $400 million in his career. Granted, it's been a long career, and $225 million in guarantees, the non-quarterback. So don't worry about playing quarterback, kids. Go play left tackle, too, and maybe you can get up there one day. He is one of the best of all time at that position. There's no doubt about that. At least in his era, he's one of the best. And what a career, and he'll finish it on a high note with an extra $37 million to throw into his pocket. And that's my take. Brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, and on your phone at Pound Law. That's all.
$1 million for every year that he is alive is what that is.
Yeah.
'Cause he's 37 years old.
He's 37,
Yeah,
right?
look,
Incredible.
I agree with the sentiment of, like, you can't always, or you're not always going to get paid at certain positions as much as you are at other positions.
Yep.
But I don't think you can just choose to be a left tackle.
If you're
or a
built
right
like
tackle.
one, you can.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because the majority of
You
football
can't choose
players,
to be a QB either. I mean, you got to have the goods.
you do, but I feel like you have more options of sizes for quarterbacks. Like we've seen some successful quarterbacks, like a Drew Brees
5'9",
under
5'10" to
6'8".
6'6". Like there is a range.
There's a range for left tackle. If you're not at least 6'4", like you're out.
6'4" to 6'8". There's a lot of prospects in there.
300 pounds. Like
Yeah,
that.
they're all over the place. Go to high school, man.
When you talk about 'cause
Massive.
we've had the conversation so much about the patience when it comes to quarterback because like, do our teams not patient enough sometimes and give up on quarterbacks too soon when at the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold not being able to develop things like that. We've had other conversations where it's like, okay, we feel like you've had shot after shot and it hasn't really panned out. And it's interesting when you talk about the left tackle side, and it made me think when it talks about patience because the quarterback's hard. We know that it's hard to find your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, and you talk about the same guys, I feel like, for usually around 10 years at a time that are in the competition when it was Mannings and Breeze and Rodgers and Roethlisbergers and Brady. Like that was the group we talked about consistently, and now we're in this era of Josh Allen's and Burrows and Mahomes and, Hurts and some of those guys trying to get in with the Lawrence. But when it comes to left tackle, I almost feel like there is also a similar amount of impatience. But I think the difference is it's not the quarterback. So it's not like, oh my gosh, they only gave this guy a year or two to try and figure out left tackle in the NFL. Yeah. They just draft another tackle or they go and spend money on a tackle in that next year and people don't make as big of a deal about it. But then you're seeing guys like that make a lot of money.
Well, I mean, look, left tackle, you know right away if you got a tackle or not. Mm-hmm. I mean, the mental side of it's nothing compared to a QB. I mean, you got to know the protections and all that, which way you're going to slide. But most of the time, you got the guy right across from you, one-on-one, and you got to handle him. And you should know right away. You know what I mean? You should. Do they get a year or two under the belt? Sure. But if they don't have it by then, it's not like, I don't know. I mean, you can get better at technique, but you either have the good, like now Tony's a Hall of Fame. That's not fair. But like Trent, I mean, you know right away. He steps out in the field, you're like, that guy's our left tackle. I tell you who I felt that, Richard Collier. When I first saw Rich, I was like, holy cow, this guy's definitely a left tackle. He had the feet, and he was built like a damn polar bear. He was like 6'8". I couldn't believe it. I even called in at 10-10. I was doing, with Mike and Tony back then. It was a long time ago, and I was like, holy cow, wait till you see this kid from Valdosta State. He could move like crazy. So you physically, I think with quarterbacks, there's just too much to learn.
Yeah.
Too much to know mentally to where you could say, all right, after a year. might have an idea of what kind he may be, but you don't know until year 3 or whatnot. But
so isn't it kind of crazy
easier.
that here in Jacksonville, Cole Van Lannon
That's what I was about to say.
is not, and I know he's the anomaly. Most of the time, a left tackle is going to be drafted and then start, and then if he's not good enough at his one spot, he'll probably move somewhere else, and then they decide what to do with him. But Cole Van Lannon is a guy that, I mean, he was just paid as a starting left tackle, yet he was traded for a 6th-round pick that Balky got him for from the Packers. Like, that's obviously not the normal trajectory.
Yeah, no, not at all. And he's played guard, he's played tackle. He's just kind of a jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife, whatever you want to call it. So he's got the athleticism. If he didn't have the athleticism, he'd never play left tackle. There's no way. I mean, you could have all the size in the world. You don't have the feet, forget about it. You're going to get worked, and it's not going to be pretty. So he's always had that. Why did he develop? They may not have given him a chance. Maybe he didn't play left tackle.
Maybe he wasn't strong enough, and
he wasn't ready.
Had to change there.
Typically, your left tackle. I mean, he's a stud or he's not. You know what I mean? He either has the goods or he doesn't. You know. I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen the storylines though of, oh, this guy didn't work at this specific place. Then his second contract, you're talking about him being a good either tackle, either bookend, but being like, oh, he just figured it out there. And there's obvious ones. Some of them, I think, right when they come out of the NFL draft, they're going to be really good. But some of the guys you get a little later, we've heard recent stories about that. Like Jordan Mailata was one of them. He was he was injured a ton in the beginning, and people were about to give up on him. And then he was kind of like in a rotation, and then now he's one of the best in the NFL.
And he's a really good singer, too.
6'8".
Yeah.
I mean, he's top of the food chain, and he can move. He's got the physical gifts to do it. But look at Walker Little. What if he went to another team and somehow the coach got him to play with ferociousness? Yeah. I mean, but he's always had the ability. I mean, he's built like a left tackle. Like when you look at him, you're like, yeah, you watch him move, you're like, yeah, that's a left tackle.
And that's what I'm talking about, the patience. That's why I'm like, do some teams even with tackles? We know they do it with quarterback, but do they do that with offensive linemen in the sense of this isn't working here, they go somewhere? I mean, the answer is yes, because we've seen offensive linemen go other places and be good in other places than they were where they were drafted. But how much are the factors around that? Is it coaching? Is it the line around them? Yeah, just
look at
having the
Anton.
right motivation.
What did Liam say about it? Like, if he wants to, he can be great. So what did that mean prior to that? We were questioning whether he wants to.
Which is crazy because
then he showed that he wanted to.
He was really good his rookie season, and he played through a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think the other guys on the line do change how someone plays as far as like, is the guard, if they're a left tackle, is the left guard doing what he's supposed to be doing? Is he strong enough to play guard? So, let's get it to our favorite inside offensive lineman, interior of the offensive line. Prospects when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
There's new life in Duval.
All aboard!
Get on board. This train is about to roll. 1010 XL.
Yeah, I know how awful it is to get injured, but not like my friend Tom, who got rear-ended last year. Tom McManus here. Morgan & Morgan can help you. They're the largest personal injury law firm in the nation. 1,000 lawyers, 100 offices across the nation, and over $30 billion recovered. And guess what? They don't get a single penny unless you do. A proven track record with backup. Hard to find these days, but not with Morgan & Morgan. For the people, that's right. Get injured due to someone's neglect, get paid. Dial Pound Law or check out forthepeople.com.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Litigated by Morgan & Morgan.
Did you know there's local savings sitting in your mailbox right now? Money Pages is packed with real coupons from your favorite local businesses. Save money at restaurants like Al's Pizza, on pet care at Forever Vets, and on entertainment for the whole family at the Alhambra Theater. Plus, make sure to download the Money Pages app for savings on the go.
Pages in your mailbox right now.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Scholar athletes prepare themselves to win at life.
1010XL and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists shine the spotlight on the Scholar Athlete of the Week. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show. Checked by
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention men and women. If you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie for the farm at Okefenokee. My wife and I and a bunch of friends just got back from the farm, and we had an incredible experience. We toured the regenerative farm, as well as the beautiful handcrafted cabins, and were treated to a fantastic farm-to-table dinner created by Congreve and Penn. Man, was it good. Well, you can learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com. And even hear my interview with farm co-founder Doug Davis to learn even more about this amazing property. That's okefarm.com.
Hey there, ET here with 1010XL. And here's a little how to be cool secret. No need to wait for an anniversary or a birthday. I just simply dial up Kuhn Flowers and send someone something special for absolutely no reason. It's really fun. And I can do it online at kuhnflowers.com.
La playa is Spanish for the beach. If you can't remember that, the word Corona also works. Corona, La Playa awaits.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. We're now just 2 days from the start of the 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh, PA. The draft gets underway Thursday evening at 8 for round 1, and the Jags will make their first selection in the second round on Friday night. The Orlando Magic lead the series with the Pistons 1-0 and still tip off for Game 2 Wednesday night. It's 80 degrees at 3:01 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
More NFL draft to discuss. Friday is the first round that the Jaguars will be picking. Of course, the actual NFL draft kicks off Thursday at 8 p.m., but 7 p.m. on Friday is when the second round begins. That's where, if I had my druthers, that's where I'm guessing that the Jaguars are going to be picking.
Yes.
If I had to bet money, I would say the Jaguars will pick in the second round. Whether at 56 before or after, I don't know. But I do not think they're going to get into the first round with all the draft capital that would require. So we are talking about offensive prospects that we think realistically the Jaguars could get somewhere around 56 or beyond. So we just talked about tight end. Let's get it to wide receiver. This one I think might be one of the final picks that the Jaguars make, whether they stay with 11 picks or they have a little bit fewer than that. My guess is they're not going to take wide receiver very early. And obviously the reason I think that is because as we go through the needs for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I said we were going to go interior offensive line. Sorry. Put wide receiver on hold because I don't think it's that big of a need. I forgot I teased interior of the offensive line. So let's start there because we were just having a conversation about left tackles and things like that. So Tom, I'll start with you this time. Your favorite prospect for interior offensive line you think the Jags can realistically get?
I think the Keelan Rutledge kid out of Georgia Tech.
Are we going to go 2 for 2? The
he
same
could be
exact?
there. I see Jalen Farmer out of Kentucky a lot. They like him a lot. your guy out of Notre Dame, you want to pick him, so I won't say that. But yeah, I'll go with someone else then. Okay, I don't think we'll get him though, but I think that Pregnon guy out of Oregon's a mammoth.
Yeah, I think he's going to go in the first round.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. Well, yeah,
I think he'll be second, but
I think it's more second, but. Chase, the kid from Texas A&M, he's considered, number 2 out of the class. So we'll see where they fall. But, yeah, I mean, look, I like nastiness. That's what we need. And you hear that about Rutledge. Like, he finishes blocks. He gets after people. He's athletic. He's big enough. And I think we need more of that. And I think they want more of that. I think that's the kind of O-line they want. They want that finish your blocks, be aggressive, be scrappy. You saw them last year change. I mean, they got real scrappy in the run game and at least tried to, and protecting Trev. And look, the run game wasn't good enough. I mean, that's why they're going to address O-line. It just, the stink, whatever you want to call it, it just wasn't good enough, which also took out the screen game.
Mm-hmm.
And, he likes to screen it up quite a bit. And again, you can't do that if your running game ain't working. So I know we think running back is the problem, but we have to think up front. And maybe they're not getting enough movement, enough push, enough nastiness. So they're going to grab somebody because we can't just assume it's Wyatt Mila. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe they keep Walker and he plays right guard. I saw where some analyst said he didn't play well at right guard. I was like, man, that's where he played the best, I thought, out of his time anyway. But, you got to upgrade. Look, McCary, he's 285. I think you need, I think Liam wants bigger
road grades,
earth movement, but you got to be able to pull because you can't run a screen game without your guards being able to pull.
Yeah.
So they got to be nimble enough to pull, but big enough to move people. Tough combination to find.
But
like we were talking left tackles off the air, to find the elite, it's hard. There's like 7 of them or 8 of them, or maybe even 10 of them out of 32. You're like,
but if you could convince Liam Cohen you can't do as much screen, but you're going to be able to run between the tackles much better than you did last year, but also consistently get that 4 yards a pop that you need. I think then the ability for the guards to pull is a little bit less important because then you are talking about those road graders and those guys that can just physically move the defensive line.
Yeah, well, you're still going to have to pull a little bit as a guard. You know what I mean? Just to line. I mean, what are we going to do? Like line up in an I formation and play smash mouth football? Maybe. I mean, look, Liam's he showed last year he's willing to adapt.
Yeah,
you got to. I mean, he did it in Tampa. Remember the wide receivers went down, and then he adjusted the game plan a little bit, go to the tight end more. So to answer your question, maybe maybe that's worth it.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
He would abandon the screen game,
or at least run it. Have that play impact the offense fewer times because maybe that's not
somebody's got to pull to get out in front of the back.
And Ezra, we know, is athletic enough
Very
to do
athletic.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just wonder, in their evaluation process, are they thinking, okay, as a part of the stink with the run game, part of it absolutely was the offensive line, and we need to improve in these spots. And I'm pretty sure that we're convinced they like their left tackle because they paid Cole Van Linden. They like their right tackle because they signed him to the 5th-year option. Yep. And then Robert Hainsey, we'll see, but they have a left guard in Ezra that I think they like. I think they like Hainsey. So that leaves kind of Patrick McCary for process of elimination of guys that they could try and improve upon.
Right.
And so, are they looking at it like we want a guy that's a little bit built differently than McCary?
And Monheim can play guard. He played a tiny bit, I think in the preseason at left guard when he was called upon.
And then played center in the regular season.
And then, played center. Maybe they give him a shot at that guard. Maybe they give McCary a shot at center. He's played center before in the past. So, but they're going to address it. You still got to get another. I think every year you need another good body in there for you, either a tackle or a guard or a center.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a high pick, but it's got to just be a really good football player that, you're going to be able to count on at some point.
Yeah, Taylor, I've seen Emmanuel Pregnon go early second, but all these draft analysts that we talk to really like him. So that's why I wonder if he's going to slip into that end of the first round because other teams are obviously paying attention to what other teams are evaluating and what other scouts are doing too. But I also have Keelan Rutledge, the guard out of Georgia Tech. So we have gone 2 for 2. When someone says you won't find a nastier blocker than him in this class, that's when I say sign me up right here, right now.
Yeah, that one would have to be probably that 81st pick, maybe 88. So if you want to that high, that's what, do you feel like you need a guard with your second pick? I don't know.
If he's starting, then yes. If he's not starting, then I agree with you.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I would ask the team if I was like having this conversation with James Gladstone and Liam Cohen right now. I would be like, okay, because to me, yes, if you're using that second pick, especially because you don't have a first round pick, then you're wanting these guys to start. But I don't love Jalen Farmer. I think that to me, he's one of the guys where that's fine. Like, he was fine in 2025. There was some ups and downs when it came to some of the things he would do. But when it came to Rutledge with Georgia Tech, I would like that. But I do think it would have to be somebody that would be starting right away. But I am going Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame. I think that he's versatile. He played left guard and right guard. So we've talked about the versatility and this team liking guys that can move around. But almost 1,400 offensive snaps he had at Notre Dame, and he only allowed 3 sacks and only 3 penalties during that whole entire time. He was a captain this last year, and I honestly think he would be even higher if it wasn't for he sprained his MCL last year during USC game. And so that was one of the biggest moments. I remember being like, crap. Like, that was one of those players where when you see them go down, you think things are drastically going to change. Luckily, Notre Dame's offensive line, they just keep being able to pump out these guys who play at a really high level. So you didn't feel like it too drastically changed. But I do like him in the sense of he can play both sides. He has a lot of experience at both sides, more so on the left, but he did play a good amount of right. He doesn't get penalized. When it comes to pass pro, that is like his biggest strength, and he's an exceptional pass protector. So I think that's what you're kind of looking at in that, and it's a little later, so you don't feel like you have to pick that second or third. He's more so around like 115th ranked when it comes to total prospects. So it's somebody that I do think that maybe around that 100 pick or 124, you'd be able to get him, which I think makes more sense with this team.
Yeah,
right
good
now.
5th rounder.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Almost
Going guard or
6'5",
center. And
310 pounds.
Yeah.
That'll work as far as interior offensive lineman is concerned. All right, so wide receiver, you want to do that on the other side?
Yes, we can get there now.
Sure.
Also, Lawrence Lane, you're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Radio from another galaxy.
Shall I scramble TAC HQ for an intercept?
What's its current position? 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I want you to forget what you saw here today.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey, Tommy Mack here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. Basically, they build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you're thinking about a fence, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Backed by
Morgan & Morgan.
Homeowners, ready to open your home to spring and shut out high energy bills? It's the 1 month only sale with Renewal by Andersen. Right now, buy one, get one 40% off windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Picken here. See clearly with the Eye Associates and trusted optometrists Zachary Boskool and Alice LaFlamme. From comprehensive eye exams, dry eye care, glaucoma management, diabetic eye care, and more, Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme are dedicated to protecting your vision. Immediate availability at all 5 Jacksonville locations. Schedule today with Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme by calling the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD at 296-0098.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
As soon as possible.
at 641-1010.
Firehouse Subs is adding a new heavy hitter to the roster. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Grilled chicken, melted cheddar, crispy bacon stacked high with fresh toppings, creamy buttermilk ranch. The Chicken and Cheddar Rancher. Only at Firehouse Subs.
Frank Frangie here with Coach Delaney from Coyle Fencing. For years, your offenses have been putting up a lot of yards in points at Fletcher. I hear Coyle also gains a lot of yards in the fence world.
Yes, Frank. Coyle Fencing has been serving the Jacksonville community and general contractors for 99 years. We fence tens of thousands of commercial and residential yards, all while maintaining an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau.
99 years?
That's right. Some might call it a dynasty.
To schedule your appointment, visit CoyleJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $5,000 per ounce, and silver is over $100 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold and silver for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Have you tried a Form energy drink yet? You need to, and it's available at Gate. 4 great tastes, screaming free to Blue Blitz, Orange Fury, and Grape Smash. Form energy, natural flavors, natural caffeine, and electrolytes for hydration are a perfect blend for energy and mental focus. Find it at Gate.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes with an opportunity again this year, just in case you haven't taken advantage of it in the past. Take the opportunity to drop 40 pounds by the 4th with a Wake 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? To make it easier, Awaken 180 has launched Reclaim by Awaken 180. Reclaim is a simple 10-week plan designed to help you reach your weight and health goals. A beginning and an end and a real finish line. It just makes more sense. I dropped my 40 within 10 weeks, and like I always tell you, it was easy. Reclaim by Awaken 180 arrives at the perfect time for you to reach your 40 by the 4th and then keep it off with free support for life. Any medication, diet, or workout plan will say you'll see the results. But how many will say in 10 weeks you'll be a new version of yourself, thanking the old you for making that call to Awaken 180? 40 by the 4th isn't just a slogan. It's an opportunity to succeed with Reclaim by Awaken 180. Only at Awaken180weightloss.com.
XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. RJ playing the hits, and right now let's drive into Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane.
Opened up by
Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
Got to get to the Florida basketball news before we hit our wide receiver prospects. Thomas Houck announced earlier today that he will return to the University of Florida, which obviously is a huge get. We talked about should he go to the NBA draft because he might be a lottery pick? Should he come back to Florida? And who knows how much money he's going to make, but you'll hear anywhere between $3 and $5 million for this year.
Nice.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Todd Golden's team is now very well set up to try and win another national championship. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
They had a team, I think, that was pretty good, obviously, this past season, but missing some pieces. Now, potentially, Denzel Aberdeen will get his 5th year of eligibility to play. And then you've got all the other guys returning except potentially Ruben Chinyelu, who would be going to the NBA draft. He is going to declare, but he still is leaving room to return. So you could have him back. Micah Handlog didn't hit the portal, but pretty much every other guy on the team last year will be there, especially the ones that had significant minutes other than Xavier Lee, who is now out of eligibility for sure. So pressure's back on Todd Golden to go and win the whole dang thing once again.
And some pressure on Houck. I mean, I feel like you're not only does this say we're coming back to win this because, hey, we're coming back with a group that's now worked together, and then Denzel Aberdeen is coming back, and you just won the year before but kind of fell short and disappointed this year after being a 1 seed again. And then, also, by the way, you had the opportunity to go get drafted, and most people projecting pretty high in the NFL draft for this season. So,
NBA, but
sorry, what did I say? The NFL?
NFL, yeah.
My mind is in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the NBA draft. And so I do think that's pressure for Houck, too, not only to come perform at Florida at a high level for the Florida team, but also, hey, this is you betting on yourself almost in a sense of you can make this even better for yourself entering the NBA draft next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's just taking a gamble. Like, let's go back. Let's make $3 to $5 million. Let's run it back as a team. Let's go have a good time in Gainesville and, work on my game and hopefully be a lottery pick next year.
And I do think that's a big part of it is he loves living in Gainesville. He and Condon have a really good relationship. There's something to be said for the years that you spend in college. For some people, they'll tell you that it's the greatest time they ever had. I'm not one of those people. Gainesville was fun for me, but I've had more fun in my life after college than I did in college. But for some people, they will tell you the best 4 years of their life was when they were in school, not just Gainesville, obviously. And so I understand that, and we'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, also there's reports that that Todd Golden might end up leaving for or at least he'll be courted by the Warriors. Yeah, Golden State. He used to coach, obviously, for University of San Francisco. Golden did. But I don't think Florida fans should worry about that just yet. I don't think that you'd make sure that all these guys come back and then be like, peace out to go to the NBA. But maybe he ends up doing that, and then we'll see who the next coach is. Potentially, obviously, Billy Donovan is going to be mentioned because he and the Bulls are no longer together.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, and I'm not the NBA person in this. This is probably a better question for RJ, but we were talking to some of the guys earlier, and I was like, would Todd Golden do, if the Warriors said, hey, come here, would he do that? And because I felt similar, like I feel like if you're putting all this work to get a lot of these guys back and you feel like you can run it back again this season, but then everyone was like, oh yeah, you're not saying no to the Warriors job. So do you think he would leave if the Warriors called?
Depends on what they're bringing back. I think there's probably a lot.
As in the Warriors.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's more questions than answers. Right now, the future of Steph Curry, the future of Draymond Green. I mean, you still have Jimmy Butler there, but I mean, he'll be coming off of a ACL tear. The trade that you made for Kristaps Porzingis just did not work. Whatever's going on with him, I pray for his recovery, but it just seems like there's been something wrong since he left Boston to go to Atlanta. So are you willing to go to a rebuilding situation? And what is Mike Dunleavy Jr. and company willing to put around this team? I mean, it's a much older core than what you would be inheriting, let's just say, if you went to Orlando. Let's just kind of use that for the sake of argument. So, I mean, it would be a big gamble. I can understand that, listen, he coached at, the University of San Francisco for the Dons. So, I mean, you'll be able to throw that out there. But unless there's a plan that the Warriors have in place here in terms of their future, if they're going to go big game hunting and saying, listen, we have Steph, we're going out to get Giannis, that for me, I'd say no. But I mean, the NBA is kind of a tough thing to really say no to, but we just saw Bobby Hurley do it. And I mean, listen, he turned down the Lakers job. I mean, so, not to say that, it's the Warriors. Look, you don't say no to the Warriors. You can say no to the Warriors. It's generational. So,
some guys don't, I'm not saying Golden's in this, but some guys enjoy coaching the teenagers, early 20s, and they feel like they still have authority over them. You get to the NBA, and the superstars can sometimes dictate, as RJ knows all too well. They can dictate who the next coach is or who gets fired as far as the coach is concerned. So, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that part yet. I'm going to celebrate the return of Thomas Houck. And one other note when it comes to Florida State football, I'm sure most people, if you're a Florida State fan by now, you've seen that Mike Norvell did name Ashton Daniels the QB1 there in Tallahassee after a brief competition in the spring, which is funny because I'd seen FSU reporters say, it's going to, the quarterback battle is going to go into the fall. And then this week, that was last week, and then this week, but that's what happens when
you
there
only
is
get
no
to see
spring
2
game.
minutes of it, by the way.
Exactly. The reporters have limited access, and there is no spring game, which I know that they're trending that way. Colleges are trending that way to reduce either the visibility of the spring games or just don't have them. But I just, as I've said before, I really hope we don't lose them entirely. But it sucks for Knowles fans that they didn't have one this year. All right, wide receiver. Like I was saying earlier, I don't think the Jaguars are going to take a wide receiver very high in this draft. If they do, that will surprise me. So with that in mind, the only knock I have against this prospect is He had attended Oregon, FSU, Alabama, and Hutchinson Community College. So that's a lot of schools. But I understand you start at JUCO, and then you want to go to a place like Alabama. That's back when Nick Saban was there. You think that that's going to be your golden ticket. Things don't necessarily work out there. Saban leaves. You go to FSU. Things don't work out there for obvious reasons. They don't have a quarterback. You end up at Oregon. And so Malik Benson is the one I'm talking about. His track speed, I think, is what's interesting. He's projected to go rounds like 5 to 6. So that's a guy that with one of those later picks, if you're going to add true speed and then you have to develop a lot of the rest of it, I'm okay with that. And especially like, let's say if BTJ had an injury of some sort, maybe you can put Malik Benson in there to continue to stretch defenses that BTJ gives you. And so I'm going to take one of those later picks on Malik Benson.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with another guy that I saw the Jags do a meeting with, and that's Caleb Douglas out of Texas Tech.
Formerly out of Florida.
Florida, yeah. 6'4", 206. He's projected in the range around where that Jags, their pick at like 164 in the 5th round, but some people have him falling into the early 6th round at in some mock drafts that I've seen. So bigger, taller receiver. One of the comps I saw was to Nico Collins, and if you've listened to the show, you know Nico Collins is one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. But
Dane Brugler has him going around 7, by the way.
7. Okay, so he really has him later. Yeah, I've seen end of 5, beginning of 6, but yeah, so some people having him in 7, but ran a 4.39. He had when it comes to his hands, they said there were some issues this last year. He had a few drops at Texas Tech last year, but his junior year, drops weren't an issue at all. So it's one of the things where I'm not quite sure what happened with that last year in that sense. But I do think he's somebody, a bigger receiver, receiver, outside receiver, but that can just add that. And I think that if you brought someone like that in here, I think it fits just in the sense we talked about Parker Washington being able to play multiple areas. If you need him in the slot, if you need him outside, obviously Jacoby Myers is kind of that Swiss Army knife that can play all over the place. And you have BT, who is going to ideally be back to his rookie season form and be that deep threat and kind of be able to get some of that, what we saw, I guess, a little bit later in the season. But this has got somebody that I think could just add to that, a bigger bodied guy. But he finished with 135 receptions, over 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns across 40 games. He was also at the Senior Bowl. So we've talked about the Senior Bowl link to this regime and having 8 of 9 guys drafted from there last year. So that's a guy that, like I said, it depends where he goes. I think if he goes in the 5th round, probably not your choice. But if the Jags start to see him fall a little bit in the 6th or 7th round, then I could see this being an option.
If he hadn't started at Florida, I think I'd be behind it. But because I've seen him and the limited production that he had, I think that was my knock against him. Who you got, Tom?
Actually, I got 2 guys. One's a guy out of North Dakota State, Bryce Lance, ran a 4.34 in the at the combine, 6'3", 204. Needs to refine his route running just a little bit, but has a good radius catching, which I think is important.
His brother is Trey Lance, by the way.
Get him down the field. Yeah, they went to the same school. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But look, he's going from the FCS to the NFL, but he's got the athletic ability to do that. Now he's ranked around 100, so you'd be that 4th round pick or that top of the 3rd or the bottom of the 3rd, I should say, in that range. If you go deeper, I've seen this Brennan Thompson who ran a 4.26. Now he's small. He's 5'9" out of Mississippi State. He's ranked around 150 in that range. Just a straight line type speed. Not as much juke as you'd think, but enough speed to take it to the house on any given moment. Again, I'm with you guys. I don't think they push it. I've seen Colby Young out of Georgia, another guy taken a little bit later in the draft, who's not going to beat you with speed, but 6'5". I could see a bigger target for Trev, in the end zone, or in the red zone, I should say, and the end zone, hopefully. So I could see that in that 5th, 6th round, like, hey, let's grab a kid that maybe can help us in the getting a possession, knows how to catch the ball, doesn't drop it much, that type of thing.
Yeah, who was the undrafted rookie wide receiver that had the really good size? And we all thought, okay, maybe he ends up making the roster. A couple of years ago, we all battled about who that 5th and 6th wide receiver would be. And I can't remember his name, but he was, but he was like
Cephas. That guy?
Josh Cephas. It wasn't, there was another one like him, but he was also, this guy was even bigger than him. And so I'll think of it in a second. But he was a guy that we all thought, like, wow, this guy I think would really be able to contribute, and then just ended up doing much.
Yeah. Well, it just shows you how tough it is, especially at that position, and especially with the competition. You know, can't drop passes in practice. You know, you got to run the right routes. You know, it's funny. You'll see guy like Josh Cephas every camp. He looks good, and he just can't break that lineup for whatever reason. You know, because the guys in front of him are just better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Caleb Douglas also needed Anthony Richardson to be a little bit more on target, I feel like, at Florida. He left Florida and all of a sudden was like, oh, this is a quarterback can actually throw it into my hands.
Elijah Cooks. I was I had an Eli in my head and I couldn't get to Elijah.
Yeah,
Elijah Cooks is the one that I was thinking of.
Trev went to him.
He did.
And he dropped it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they never went to him. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like especially a guy like that, like you're trying to make your mark. And it's hard. I get it, man. It sucks that it's such cutthroat, but you drop a pass in a game, and especially in a preseason game, when you're like trying to make the team, QB's like, I think I'll go over here next time.
Yeah,
you know
I think
what I
I'll
mean?
look the other way.
Yeah, it's just part of the deal.
As I said, the lack of production for Caleb Douglas at Florida, I did think if I'm going to have a knock on Malik Benson for the quarterback play at Florida State, then I should probably have
out at Florida too.
for Caleb Douglas at Florida for sure. All right, let's get it to running backs on the other side. That's our last position group and the golden moment. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Duval all day. Search 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
If you're thinking about getting a new roof sometime this year, Endless Summer Roofing can help. I'm Claudia, owner of Endless Summer Roofing. Stronger materials, expert installation, real peace of mind. A new roof isn't just an upgrade. It's the primary source of protection for your family home. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free inspection today, and I'll make sure you're ready for tomorrow. Endless Summer Roofing. Protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Litigated by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Of course, Roland Reach Plumbing has awards from Folio Weekly and the Bold City's Best. Now, Roland Reach is also confirmed as the Google Guaranteed Plumbing Service. Because when you do plumbing right, the word gets around. That's Roland Reach Plumbing.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service in the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate chess man.
At most companies, people start on the ground floor and work their way up to the corner office. At Checkmate, I started on the ground floor, and almost 20 years in, that's still where I am, making ground floors look awesome, one garage at a time.
Well, I started as a pawn and worked my way up to king.
No, you didn't. Some guy drew you as a king. I asked them to give you a roller, so at least you'd look like one of the guys.
Yes, I rather would have preferred a sword.
At Checkmate, I work personally with our teams to perfect the preparation and application techniques that make Checkmate floors beautiful and durable.
And I keep things classy with my adorable accent.
Beautiful floors?
Check. Guaranteed to last?
Check. The finishing touch your home deserves? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Golden moment for today is we're very close to draft day, draft weekend actually happening. So all of these names that we have been talking about that we would like to see here are potential fits or how this regime's going to do in year 2. We'll finally get some answers, not only to that, but I guess roster questions we've been having in general when it comes to that interior offensive line, when it comes to how they feel about the safety room, what they want that tight end room to look like, some of those things. I know a lot of the swirl is not your starting quarterback, but do they spend a later pick on a quarterback? I've seen a lot of people mentioning Drew Aller and how he could fit technically behind, what his type of quarterback play that he is and how that may fit as a backup quarterback here, just in case. You've seen back-to-back years, not this last year, but of Trevor Lawrence getting injured previously, and you didn't really feel like you had the best backup plan. So a lot of that, as we're winding some of those down, I read an article earlier, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this when it comes to there's 7 first-round NFL draft prospects, guys that have been majority mocked to the 7th to round 1, who could slide to day 2. And some of these guys, various reasons, some of it's injuries, some of them we've talked about. But this list, as I name it, if these guys start to slide to 2, which of these guys would you guys like to see here the most if they end up being able to fall that far? So Avion Terrell, the cornerback out of Clemson, is one of the guys that says Clemson cornerback Avion Terrell was a frequent top 15 pick in mock drafts. The former Tiger stand out as the younger brother of Atlanta Falcons star cornerback A.J. Terrell and appears to possess natural ability on tape. He's competitive at the catch point and patience and timing to generate pass breakups. But he's only 5'10", so there's some size concerns are present with him, and they've started to hear that he's starting to fall in a lot of people's big boards. Caleb Banks, we've talked about that one a lot.
Anyway, I'm no to Terrell just because the position of cornerback, it's too
56.
high. Even though I know if you're going to try and get a corner in this draft that's really good, you're going to have to take him early, but I just don't think that's where the
need is. Yeah. And I agree on that. I don't think at this point in time, I think bringing it, maybe the conversation is way different if Buster Brown didn't come back. Maybe that conversation shifts big time. Caleb Banks, defensive tackle of Florida, if he falls, would you guys say yes to that one?
I would say yes if Dr. Kaplan would.
Yeah, I got it.
I need
it's hard to say it. Now, if he falls into the 3rd round, I might not care.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You take that risk.
I'd take the risk, but I don't know if I'd take it at 56 without knowing.
Right.
Kevin Kaplan saying, no, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just kind of freak things. It's not going to happen again. It shouldn't happen. You shouldn't worry about it.
The next one, TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson. We've talked about this one. Both those Clemson guys that are talked about, and Peter Woods and TJ Parker, have started to fall because of their fall off last year with Clemson. But Clemson defensive end TJ Parker recorded 9 sacks in 2024, entering the 2025 season with significant momentum. Unfortunately, he was unable to replicate that form. The entire program struggled, and Parker regressed both statistically and on film, notching just 5 sacks. So they were talking, he's for Alabama native, is powerful edge defender with well-developed hands, but appears to lack top-tier athleticism to replicate those 2024 numbers with any consistency in this deep pass rushing class. It would be borderline surprising to see him a top 32 pick at this point, which he was for a while, and now he's starting to fall. Is this somebody that you would like?
I'd say absolutely.
I'd say yes.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him going as early as like in the 20s originally, and so
I think I was seeing like 17 at certain points, early, like when we first started doing some of these mocks.
Yeah, I saw one of his comps is Trey Hendrickson. So yes,
if you're taking a chance on Trey,
yes for me too.
I'd say
this
absolutely.
Is like on whatever that show, one of those reality shows, like the Golden Ticket. What is that?
Yeah.
The America something.
The Next Top Model.
It's not that one, but there's another one with Howie.
Oh, Mandel.
Oh,
Yes,
America's Got Talent.
Thank you. I knew it was America's Got Talent. They give out that golden ticket for that. For I think for TJ Parker, our golden ticket if he's there at 56.
This one probably no too, just because of positional need. Maybe, I guess, from what we've been told. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Proctor is wild card of the offensive tackle class. The expectation is that Spencer Fano, Monroe Freeling, and Francis Mauigoa will be the first 3 players off the board at the position. After that, prospects like a Proctor, Blake Miller, Caleb Lomu, all of are those guys that are in that next group. At least one of them could slide into the 2nd round, and the Mammoth Alabama offensive tackle is facing a wide range of outcomes on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't think he gets out of the 1st round, despite what some people are saying, and I also want to differentiate between Caleb Proctor and Caden Proctor.
yeah.
They are not related. Caden, who Taylor's talking about, is the offensive tackle for Alabama.
Mammoth.
Caleb Proctor is a defensive tackle out of Southeast Louisiana, going much later, probably in like the 6th or 7th round, somewhere in there. And so those are not the same person as you're looking through mock drafts. But yeah, I'd say to your point, if they were to if he was available and they took Caden Proctor, then that sends me clear signals that Cole Van Lanen's not healthy and that they don't like Walker Little as being their left tackle or moving Anton to left tackle.
Yeah. At 56, you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be second round.
I guess it depends who else is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
how the board ends up falling to them.
I don't know. I don't think you got to press for a tackle. I almost feel like I wouldn't take a guard at 56, but a guard in those 81, 88. You know what I mean? I don't know. Because I think Cole is the guy. I do believe. And if he's healthy, well, you know, they say he is. I would count on him being my left tackle. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need one at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd have to press at 56
And we
for a
didn't do
left
tackle for our prospects because I don't think that's where their biggest needs of this draft are.
I really like, and I think he'll fall, is Barber. I think he fits, man. He's
Austin Barber.
Yeah.
From Florida. They say he's like one of the truest left tackles in the class, and he's nasty, and he gets after it. I think if he falls in that, like if you get him at 100 or 124, like that could be a nice, and then you don't have to like say, okay, I got to start him, but he's there. And we'll see how he fits, and let's find a way to, make it work.
Yeah, I've seen him going in round 4 in multiple mock drafts.
Yeah.
Austin Barber.
Me too. What I do think may help the Jags when it comes to the way the board falls is that there's a potential that like 6 tackles could go in the first round, and I just named a ton of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Proctor. I wouldn't be surprised if he fell to the top of the second round. But I do think he'd go pretty early in the second round if it was. But if 6 tackles go in the first round, normally that's the conversation we're having with quarterbacks, for example, or one of those more premier positions. Not saying tackle, you need a tackle, obviously, but 6 would be crazy. And then that does feel like it could push some of those other defensive players down a little bit because people are starting to worry about their tackle. The other one is the defensive tackle out of Clemson, Peter Woods. I just mentioned him too. So Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods is another Tigers-based defender who hasn't fully met initial expectations. Voted a top 10 overall prospect nationally in high school. The flashes of dominance were fleeting. Woods went from recording 8.5 tackles for loss in 2024 to just 3.5 with 2 sacks this last year. Even in weaker interior defensive line class, there's no guarantee he's a first-round selection. Would you like him if he fell to 56?
I would.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, golden ticket for Peter Woods as well. Both the Clemson guys.
Yeah, he's good. He can rush, and he's good against the run. So I look, it's weird. Like Clemson had it down here, and all their prospects seem to have it. I mean, look at Klubnik.
Yeah.
He was like, I mean, not top, but he wasn't like bottom. It just doesn't seem like he's, like may not be drafted.
Yeah.
You don't even
Pretty
hear
much
his
every
name.
single player.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, you don't hear him like you thought you'd be hearing him going into this, this draft season. So I don't know. Maybe you overlook last year. Maybe there's something going on that just didn't fit or whatever.
And
then go back to years before and try to figure it out.
And this is the difference, Tom, between the draft analysts that we talk to and us. Like, as much college football as I watch all season long, once the season ends, I don't go back and watch the film of these prospects. That's what these draft analysts are doing, which is why we have them on and we steal their ideas, right? And understand that they're the ones that have spent I mean, millions, I feel like, I don't know how many hours, but thousands of hours, we'll say. On these
and that's what scares you a little bit because these guys were in August of last year being talked about being top 10, 15 picks. And now all of a sudden you're talking about them fall into the second round once all of these guys have now went back and watched the film. So I think at the end of the football season, they were like, well, Clemson just had a down year. So how much was it of the overall product? And now that all these guys have really gone back and analyzed, they're like, they played kind of bad. They all regressed a little bit this last year, which is concerning. But if you're talking about a guy that the year before was talked about as a top 10, 15 pick, you feel like you have confidence. I did want to name one more. Hines-Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia, is another one they have. Georgia linebacker. Hines-Allen began the pre-draft process as a consensus first-round pick. A pre-draft injury limited his participation in the process, seemingly leading to a loss of momentum. Allen recovered to work out for the NFL scouts on April 15th, but it may have been too late to recover first-round hype in a competitive linebacker class that includes, obviously, Jacob Rodriguez, Anthony Hill Jr., those are some of the guys we've talked about. There could be a run on off-ball defenders during the second round.
Yeah.
And I'm a yes.
Yes, me too. I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely. He can do it all. And I
he's a
like Georgia.
Georgia.
I like Georgia football players, especially on defenses.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. So y'all can weigh in, obviously. Hit us on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your favorite prospects, if there's ones that we missed on the offensive side of the ball. We still have to get to running back. If we don't get to that today, we'll definitely get to that tomorrow. But I will try and get to running back here in the next few minutes. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Frank Frangie here, and Big Chief Tire makes it easier than ever to get the tires you need with the Big Chief credit card. No annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, and right now, $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and get the tires you need today. That's Big Chief Tire.
Hey, Jacksonville, pay attention. Termite swarms are active right now, and once they get inside, damage can happen fast. Termites don't knock. They silently attack the structure of your home, leaving behind costly repairs and long-term headaches. Lauren Brooks here. Protect what you've worked hard for with the proven protection homeowners trust. Terminix it with advanced termite treatment and prevention solutions. Visit Terminix.com to schedule your free termite inspection today.
Every day, K-9 officers put their lives on the line, tracking criminals, finding missing adults and children, saving lives. But they can't ask for help. That's where K-9s United steps in, providing life-saving equipment and training to police K-9 units across the country. Now you can help. Join the 9K for K-9, Saturday, April 25th in St. Augustine. Run, walk, or even go virtual. Every step supports these four-legged heroes. Sign up, donate, or learn more at K9sunited.org.
It's a Helmets and Heels Tuesday, backed by Morgan & Morgan.
Did you know that an annual coating inspection can extend the life of your building by years? Catching early signs like hairline cracks, fading, and moisture intrusion helps prevent costly repairs down the road and keeps your property looking its best. Our team at Performance Painting helps you stay ahead of maintenance with professional inspections and long-lasting coating solutions. Protect your building, protect your budget. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a free inspection. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting!
Attention poker players, the tables are heating up at all Best Bet locations. Don't miss a minute of the action with $800 high hands every Friday and Saturday, $555 Cinco de Mayo high hands every 20 minutes, and the Memorial Day $30,000 cash giveaway. And don't forget to earn those entries to win a side-by-side all-terrain vehicle starting May 1st in Best Bet St. Augustine. Get to your location of choice, Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine, and take home your winnings. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com.
The Golf Club of Southampton is gearing up for brand new greens and a lot more. And now's your chance to save on membership before the fee increase. Take advantage of $1,000 savings if you join before the work starts in late April and before the initiation fee goes up. It's a great deal, plus $500 additionally in Pro Shop credit. Don't miss out. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Become a member now and save big. The course is in great shape, so head on out to the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee.
All right, sports fans, Hicken here, and let's talk skin. Beaches Dermatology reminding you all to wear your sunscreen. Summer's almost here, gang, and that means more time outside. You're grabbing the clubs for your tee time. You're heading out to the boat. Just headed to the beach. Definitely bring the sunscreen. Hey, Mother's Day is coming up, so get your lady a gift card for some skincare. We know women love their skin. Beaches Dermatology, give them a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation? From a real person? Good luck. That is what's so nice about Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Unlike publicly traded conglomerates with headquarters in faraway cities, Mike Merritt's Heating and Air remains family-owned and operated by Mike, your neighbor. Mike Merritt has delivered hometown service, integrity, and pricing for generations. The big guys incentivize their techs to sell you new equipment. Mike's team emphasizes repair first. We only sell you equipment if your current equipment is worn out and beyond repair. And let's be honest about price. Small operations without much overhead can sometimes lowball your job, but you can't trust just anyone with a truck. They may be here today and gone tomorrow. Mike Merritt has been keeping North Florida cool for more than 3 decades. That's experience and dedication you can count on. Call today or see us on the web.
Florida license number CAC 050384.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Time now for the Pest of the Day, is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. It's TERMINIX.com. Noticed some small ants in our half bath earlier today. Oh, no. Oh, don't fear. Just contact Terminix. That's what I did. That's what you can do. They do a fabulous job taking care of ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. I've been saying Everbank Stadium, but my guess is they have bigger fish to fry at Everbank Stadium than any sort of pests going on right now with all of that stadium construction. All right, so Mike Vrabel has been the pest of the day. He's going to be the pest of the day once again because he initially told all of us after those pictures came out with he and Diana Rossini at that adults-only hotel in Arizona. He originally said it was a completely innocent interaction and any suggestion otherwise is laughable. Well, then today he met with reporters and he said he's had some difficult conversations with people he cares about, his family, the organization, the coaches and players. Why would you have to have difficult conversations if it was laughably innocent? To which he declined to answer. So, I mean, you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. No. If it was completely innocent, then Diana Rossini shouldn't have had to resign from the Athletic. You shouldn't have had to have difficult conversations, but clearly you have. The NFL is not going to pursue any sort of investigation, but it is what it is for those two. Should I call them lovebirds or should I call them homewreckers?
Does it upset you guys that she had to resign and he probably won't? Nothing's going to happen to him.
So
I doubt anything's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen to him. It doesn't upset me in the sense of like moral or morality. It upsets me more because she's in a field where women have had to work so hard to break into, and she was potentially using a relationship with a head coach when he was a head coach with the Titans, now obviously with the Patriots, to get inside information. It doesn't seem like he was necessarily doing anything unethical when it comes to professionally, and that's, I think, the difference.
Yeah, I'm not upset in the sense of, I don't know. I feel like the conversation about it is going to be that part of it because it's like, okay, well, it seems, and what it is now, it doesn't feel like there was any denial of that, was using some of this to get certain information. And I feel like that's what the Athletic has been like, no, you can't do that. That's you're mixing that personal relationship with your work relationship, and that's altering things. But I also think he could also, we've seen like there's certain agendas that she's easily could have pushed in the last several years when he was a coach with Tennessee or Patriots, whatever the case may be, that he could have been like, hey, get this out there that we want this trade or this is happening or whatever's going on. So I don't think he's completely innocent on that side either. It's just people are going to immediately go to her because she's the reporter, and the reporter side of things is going to be like, hey, there's this line where you just kind of know you don't cross. And also, it's a kind of a double standard in general, but everyone's like, oh, well, all the coaches are cheating on their wives, and that's just what it is, and it's this big secret behind everything. And like, I've heard seen multiple people on Twitter make that comment of like, if you really think Vrabel's the only person that's had relationships with reporters or women in the building, whatever, then you're very naive. And so that's more so what bothers me, because it's just kind of like you're excusing it because multiple other people are probably doing it, and then she's one of like that. And to your point, Lauren, because it's her, that side bothers me, because it's just the sense of now it's going to backtrack things a little bit in the sense of next time a woman breaks some big news, it's going to be like, oh, well, where'd she get this information from? And that's what you don't want. You don't want it to go back, which is unfortunate.
Even for a beat reporter in Jacksonville, you're taught very early on, don't fraternize with the players or coaches. You can have a personal relationship with them, but don't let it cross any sort of line, because if it does, you're going to be fired if it's found out, obviously. And most of the time, these things are probably more clandestine because people's jobs are on the line or their families are on the line, the marriages are on the line, but they weren't smart enough to keep it hidden. Like maybe if they had rented an Airbnb somewhere in Arizona where there were no photographers, right? No paparazzi, they might have gotten away with this and none of us are the wiser.
Would even be talking
But they
about
went to an adults only hotel and like I wonder, did they check in under their real names? Therefore, people are going to
So
be able
there
to
weren't
find that
other
out.
people there?
They said
They
there
originally
was.
said there were lots
You
of
saw
other
that one
people.
picture of the pool, but were they AI'd in or what?
They said that they zoomed in and there were other people that
Other
the
around,
photographer didn't get the
yeah.
picture of. But either way, at the end of the day, if the NFL is going to investigate Vrabel, I'm fine with that. They just said they weren't going to.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Patriots, once again, we have Spygate,
all the
Deflategate.
gates.
Yeah.
Cheatgate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, Robert Kraft, he can't, say anything to him. He
Yeah,
got
that's
caught
what Kraft
going
is
to
like.
the-
I'm going to stay out of this one.
Hey, Robert, you got anything to say about this? Nah, I don't. I think I'll
We're
pass.
good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you hang out over there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hang out over here.
Right,
and
exactly.
These conversations and stories will not cross paths.
Yep.
All right, so we didn't have time to get into running back today, but we'll do that tomorrow. And then
Okay.
we've also tomorrow, as far as defensive prospects, we'll run through defensive tackle, we'll run through edge, we'll run through linebacker, we'll run through safety. And cornerback. To me, the hardest one was cornerback. Like as far as where I think the Jaguars are picking, kind of like wide receiver, where I think the Jaguars are picking, and a prospects that I really liked watching in college. That one for me was really tricky.
Yeah. Well, we don't think it's a need, so we're not, when are they going to start looking at a corner? Now, the thing is, like, we don't know the absolute philosophy. What if a corner's the top rated player on the board at 81?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I got to have them.
Right. And currently, at this point of time, 2 of your 3 starters are also hurt. So how much does that factor into some of the conversations?
Absolutely. All right, let's head out to the campus of the University of North Florida.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes Carline joins us now. Hayes, ready for some baseball?
Absolutely. What a matchup we have tonight. UNF, who is just red hot. The Ospreys 14-4 in ASUN play. They've got 6 consecutive series wins. Hosting the Noles tonight, who are starting to find their footing. FSU has won 4 in a row. So it should be a fantastic matchup. We're certainly excited. It's a gorgeous day out here at UNF. And so great day for baseball. It's a earlier start. It starts at 6:05. So if you're looking to watch a great college baseball game, UNF is the place to be tonight. We'll certainly look forward to welcoming in Joe Mercadante, the UNF coach, at 4:20. And Nick Morrow, the UNF AD, will join us at 5:20. So a fun Frangie show coming up. And we might just be talking a little Gators basketball.
I had a feeling that would come up very early in the show. I know, Hayes, you're excited. I'm excited as well for Thomas Houck's return, and then maybe Chinyelu as well.
He's coming back. He's just getting feedback. I'd be stunned if Ruben Chinyelu doesn't come back to Florida. So,
yeah, I'd be surprised.
Because, again, he will be taking a pay cut to go into the NBA draft. So he's coming. He's just getting some, feedback on what he needs to work on, what they think of him. But, I mean, I'd put Chinyelu at like 97% that he comes back to Florida.
Yeah, which is going to be very exciting. They can run it back. All right, Hayes, thanks so much. We'll be listening.
Thank you.
There he goes.
Right.
And also tonight, JU is at Florida, like I mentioned yesterday.
yeah.
That first pitch is at 6:30. So good stuff when it comes to baseball. FSU at UNF tonight. Like Hayes said, 6:05 first pitch.
Come on, Ospreys.
That's right. The Ospreys need to take down the Noles. The swoop. That's what they say. Swoop. Not the swoopers, just swoop. That's all. All right. That'll do it for us today. More prospects tomorrow. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show is next.